Hi everybody, my name is Sharon and I'm the CEO of Clariter. Let's talk a little bit about sustainability. But before we speak about sustainability, which is a big word, let's understand what are the three pillars in the world of sustainability. So the first pillar is economical aspect. The second one is a social aspect. And the third one is an environmental aspect. Now, usually when people are talking about sustainability, they think about the environmental element, the environmental aspect. But the truth, in order to be truly sustainable, you do need the three pillars. Now, let's look at Clariter, the company that I have the pleasure to run and manage. So Clariter transforms plastic waste that no one wants into products everybody needs. So the environmental pillar is clear. We take plastic waste, we clean it, we make end of life of plastics. Now let's look at the economical aspect. So, when you take something with a negative value and you transform it into something with positive value. So we make solvents, oil and waxes that the world needs. So when you take something negative and you turn it into positive, definitely there is an economical factor. The third one is the element of the social effect. So at Clariter, we look at the community that we live in as a part of our ecosystem. This is where we get our raw material and this is where we distribute and we provide our end products. So having the three elements, the three pillars, the effect on the environment, the effect on economy, and the effect on the society, this is what makes a sustainable and strong company and a sustainable and strong economy. When I look at sustainability, I see this is not just a declaration of being a sustainable company or a sustainable citizen of the world. This is a call to action. In order to be truly sustainable, you need to do, not to try. Master Yoda said, do or do not, there is no try. So at Clariter and even myself, we are thinking sustainable, we are acting sustainable, and we deliver sustainable. And again, always keeping the right equilibrium between social effect, economical effect, and environmental effect. So we realize today, especially during COVID days, that you cannot just talk about the environment. You cannot just talk about the effect on our society, the importance of small, medium-sized development, etc., etc. You really need to do it. So today, if people in the past were talking about being sustainable and looking how to make an impact, I think today it's a must. Because this is for us to be responsible. This is for companies to come and say, it is not just to be existing, but to make an effect, to make an impact on others. Look, a couple of months ago, plastic got just the titles of being bad for the environment. The amount of trash, the amount of plastic. But today, during COVID period, what do? You actually do need to have single-use plastics because of the pandemic. You do need to have protection that later on, what do? You need to dispose it. So we cannot avoid plastics. So what do? Do we avoid it? We don't really have the option. But how do we utilize it? After we use it, how do we bring, again, a negative into a positive? And the right approach is an impact approach and it's a sustainable approach. And this is where we are looking at a journey. So from one side, we are looking at something with negative, the plastics. And then we are saying we have developed a way to take it further into something which we can implement in even a different manner. And I will urge you to look at your companies, at your homes, at your societies, where there is a negative and you can turn it into a positive. I'll open brackets and I'll give you another example. At Clariter, we believe that it's great to hire and to join our group people that are coming from various backgrounds and various nationalities, but various experiences. So for a small company of about 80 people, we have 40 nationalities, we speak 24 languages, we have a gender parity of 1-to-1, and we love to hire people who just graduated and people who just retired. Putting the young and the old together makes magic. There are no fights, no egos, but everybody strives towards the right direction, towards something which will be sustainable, something which will be solid, something that you can build on that. So I will ask you to go to your companies and look where there is something with a negative, where someone sees no value, and how can you turn it into something which makes sense and make value. So the UN came up with 17 SDGs. Sustainable Development Goals. And what we did, we looked at the 17 and we said, which one of them fits us? Which one we can strive towards reaching that goal? And so far we identified 10. But we are looking forward to get even the next additional 3 in order to have 13. So for us, SDG has been a guide, a compass, a map towards where we want to go. Additional part of the SDG as a part of your business is to see where you are compared to your competitors, where you are compared to the environment you live in. Can you do better? Where you are compared to your self goals in the DNA of your company. Do you want to be the top? Do you want to do an average? Do you want just to come and tick the box, or do you want to make an impact? So we chose at the 10 that we targeted to make an impact, not just to come and say that we are looking towards gender parity, okay? But we actually created the gender parity of 1-to-1 and we live by that. We are looking for not the gender, but the person who fits the title and the requirement. Coming from Israel, I'm very much familiar with the word high-tech. Because Israel is known to be the startup nation. This is where development of new ideas and crazy ideas that later on change our world. But there is also the world of clean tech. This is the world that I live in for the past 17 years. Now, what's the difference between clean tech and high tech? High tech, you can usually find 2 computer geeks with a small computer walking in a basement and oops, the next day you have the next Google or the next Microsoft. In clean tech, it's a little bit more complicated. It takes more time. You need multidisciplinary. You need to look at the way of how you combine it all together to make not just an economical effect, but a true sustainable effect. Remember, the economy, the environment, and the society. So, in addition, what sparks, what makes the magic is the innovation, thinking outside of the box. Because, if you look at the world of waste management, it's been existing for ages. If you look at the world of petrochemicals, it's been existing for ages. But how can you look at A, B, combine, and use out-of-box thinking and new technology in order to be better? This is where clean tech, high tech, and innovation meets together. Let's take a look at Clariter. Clariter has a unique story. So we started, as said, about 17 years ago when Professor Andrzej Bilicki, one of the leading scientists in Europe, came to see me and share with me a vision. He said that from a chemical point of view, he believes he can take post-consumer plastic waste and turn it into mineral oil. Now, I knew nothing about chemistry, so I asked him, what is mineral oil? And he said, often people treat it as baby oil, as an oil to treat wood, etc., etc. And it was for me mind-blowing. Until then, I thought baby oil comes from baby. I didn't know that it's actually coming from crude and other petrochemicals. So the concept of taking plastic waste or post-consumer plastics and turn it into a baby oil, for me, that was like, wow. That was the innovative stuff that I was looking for. I did not think about the environment. I did not think about the social effect. I simply thought about the innovation part. But stepping back, I saw that it actually makes an impact. So first, Professor Bilicki came and said, this is what we can do, and we believed in it, and we decided to take the concept, the theory, and put it into practice. So our first stage was to develop a small lab in Poland. The lab was working for a couple of years, and we actually proved the chemistry. The second stage, we wanted to see if the process work of how do you take a pile of plastics and at the end you have a pile of products. So for that we created in 2006 our first pilot facility in the south of Poland in a place called Gliwice. And over there we managed to show the entire process where we take a mix of plastics, we put it into a reactor, and the reactor first cracking it into basic hydrocarbons that looks and smell like crude, and slowly this is going to be transformed into the type of products that we love. The products that we make, solvents, oils, and waxes, all of them with great purities, without impurities, without smell, without color, fantastic products. So this is what we did in our pilot in Poland, in the south of Poland. After realizing that our pilot worked, and we did a lot of alterations and we continued to develop, we decided it's time to scale up. It was time to come and see, Can we think as industrialists? And for that, we teamed up with the Industrial Development Corporation of South Africa, which is the leading development corporation in Africa. And over there, we built in East London, South Africa, an ISP. And ISP stands for Industrial Scale Plant. This is a 15,000 square meter facility where we are actually having all the process together, and we are able to convert thousands of tons into thousands of products. After reaching the goals we set for us in the ISP in South Africa, we decided it's time for a global rollout. For that, what we did, we identified 4 jurisdictions, 2 in Europe, 1 in Asia, and 1 in Africa, for the purpose of building full-scale plant. Each and every one of these facilities is targeted at 50,000 tons of end product, or should I say 60,000 tons of input of raw material, meaning the plastics. In order to be able to deliver what we are doing, we looked at a couple of angles. We looked at the raw material part, we looked at the engineering part, and we looked at the end product part. And of course, you always need to look from the financial part. So what we were doing at these 4 jurisdictions is, one, we are working towards securing raw material. What we need is a steady supply of that raw material to have the right quality, quantity, availability, and price. The second part, when it comes to engineering, we know what do we require. We know how long does it take, what type of permits we need, and we tailor ourselves to each and every one of the jurisdictions. On the third part, which is the end product, so we know today that we have 3 families of products. The first one comes as a solvent family. The second part is the oil family, and the third one, wax family. All these solvents, oils, and waxes are coming with great purities. They have no color, they have no smell, they have no impurities, no sulfur, which puts them at the top end of petrochemical world. To be clear, what Clariter does is not plastic to energy, not plastic to fuel, but plastic to advance petrochemical products. Let me share with you one of the examples of the things that we do with some of our partners. So a couple of months ago, we were approached by one of the leading NGOs that the sole purpose is to clean the ocean. Now, we all see in the news, and we see newspapers and articles and in social media, the effect of plastic waste on the oceans and our rivers. It is really sad, terrible to see the fish, to see the turtles stuck within the net. We feel bad. And although we might not be the one throwing the plastic into the ocean, there is a high chance that our plastic ends up in the ocean. But what do? So one thing is to collect it and clean it, clean the ocean. But then what do you do with the tons of plastic coming from there? And the truth, we are stuck. There is not much to do with that. So at Clariter, we teamed up with this NGO, and we said, give us the most problematic plastics, the ones that makes for you the biggest headache. And they gave us fish nets, and they gave us some packaging, and we were putting it in throughout our process, and to our surprise, actually not to our surprise because we knew what will happen, we managed to convert and get the same solvents, oils, and waxes. But then we came and we said, what can you do with that? And what we came up is actually with a surf wax. A surf wax that later on is being sold or given to the same surfers that for them, plastic at the ocean, it's a disgrace. For them, it is terrible. It's something they cannot live with. So think about how cool it is. They help us to clean the ocean. They provide the plastics to Clariter. We make for them surf waxes they're using for the boards, and everybody is happy. End of life of plastic, replacement of crude, and we are supporting the society. I think the future of sustainability lies actually with a very famous quote by an African proverb that we use a lot at Clariter. The proverb says, if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. So we believe it's not a single solution. It's not a single approach. It's not a single act, but it's a unity. It's where we team up with others, we team with government, local societies, industrialists, and even think about the packaging industry. Think about the ones that are making degreasers for kitchen. How cool it is where we can take the plastic where the degreaser is in, and later on we can make the product that goes into the degreaser, and everybody wins. So when we are we, we can create a sustainable environment. We can create a strong, sustainable unity. We can handle pandemics, plastic pandemics, and maybe even other pandemics. So a combination of science, innovation, industry, and society makes the Killing app. So it's not about a single solution. It's about combinations of solutions. It's not about a single way or approach of how to handle a problem, but it's a we. It's not about looking at saying, I'm the hero. No, we are the heroes. It's not about being afraid to fail. It's about being afraid of not doing. Do or do not. There is no try. So we better do. And we can fail, but then we do again and again and again. And if we are together, if we are united, industry, government, social, people, we are able to create a sustainable future for everybody. Clariter is just one example of how to do it. And at Clariter, we do not believe at the I. We believe at the we. And we don't want to go fast. We want to go far. And we are not thinking about our country. We think about our world. We are not thinking about my family, but we are thinking about our families. That's why the future of sustainability is us.